Hello, my name's Catherine. I'm a third year illustration student and this is my Unit X sketchbook. So usually I work in several sketchbooks at one time, but because this project was quite a short one, I just have this sketchbook and several sheets that I'll add in at the end of this video. So to start my Unit X, I headed to Manchester Art Gallery for some warm-up sketches. I think we had a few days rest after the previous project, so this was just to get me back into the swing of observational drawing. And before my main illustration project, I worked on a week-long brief that was unfortunately postponed due to COVID. But I was looking at the city of Jodhpur and a family of monkeys that lived in the city. And this was a final mock-up for my A3 watercolour that I did. And then it was back to the museum to look at animals this time. All of my projects are influenced in some way by nature or environments. And this is when I get into my main Unit X project, which is based on My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. So I began with a list of visuals I needed to research, and then looked at costumes, characters and scenes, all inspired by the book. And this is how I usually start a sketchbook, making a big initial brain dump of all the visuals and possible avenues I could go down. And then we went into lockdown. So all of my research then had to come from books, and I tried to avoid Google Images as much as possible, so I also looked at films with interaction of characters and movement, and I got into a real flow with these. I enjoyed them. And then moving on to colour, interiors. This was designed by the Bloomsbury Group house, which was an amazing interior. And this was my initial sketch of the family, what they may look like, and to be honest, the final characters aren't much different to these initial sketches. And then a very basic storyboard to begin my narrative, and back to research. In this project I was looking at dogs, so it's quite difficult to draw dogs with personalities, but I tried. Bugs. And then I did some life drawing just to get movement. This is actually my mum holding a spoon, but with little imagination it becomes a boy catching fireflies. And then continuing my way, weaving through characters, environments and objects, always coming back to the narrative. And that's my basic formula for working through a sketchbook, repeating this until I'm happy to move on to the final pieces. I do work on sheets alongside my sketchbook because an A4 sketchbook definitely has its limitations. So I'll add these at the end of the video because they're still a vital part of the experimental process, I think. And another storyboard. At this point I was getting more of an idea of how the pages were going to look. So the research was done, and now it was more about refining ideas, refining the actual illustrations. Again, colour experiments were done on separate sheets. These are just the initial sketches. And then I started with a narrative. I always write my own text. I love bringing the characters to life, at this point with dialogue. Some cover illustrations. More experiments. Handwritten text for the title. I enjoy using handwritten text rather than typed in my work. And then these last few pages I keep free, usually for the final artwork. for me to practice first. I always think there's something I've missed or something I haven't considered, and this is a great incentive to have your book by the side of you while you just doodle, even if it's just to get the terrible first sketch out of the way. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my Unit X sketchbook. I'll add separate pages on here at the end so you get a bigger picture of my illustration process. And yeah, thanks for watching.